had a really tough loss yesterday, and coming into this game, I was feeling tired and a little bit lethargic. So, but once the game got going, I was kind of got the swing of things and got a good position from the opening and got a pretty substantial advantage from pretty early on in the game. So I was happy to convert for a win.
Yeah, and it looked pretty smooth, this game today.
Yeah, it's not easy to play smooth games. This field has been really, really tough, and I've realized from playing against such strong players is if you make one mistake, they'll just pounce on you. So really had to try and minimize mistakes, and was able to do that today.
Some tough games out there today. All the games seem to be going the distance. What do you think of the match?
Yeah, I was so focused on my own game that I really didn't have so much time to look at everyone else's games, but I did glance at some of the positions and saw some really exciting fighting chess. So I do look forward to kind of going back and looking at what happened in other games.
Okay, let's have a look at the game. Okay, Eric, let's have a look at your game.
Yeah, so I played Pia Cramling, and this is one of the openings I was expecting. This kind of Queen's Gambit declined, Bishop G5 is kind of a trendy move order. And most of the time, at least in my past games, I've played Bishop to E7. But this morning I prepared a bit more confrontational move, D takes E4, just kind of a delayed Queen's Gambit accepted. And it leads to some interesting lines. She played very solidly, Queen A4, Knight D7, and then E3, Bishop E7, won back the pawn, castling. I had this position on my computer screen this morning.
Okay.
I knew it was very playable for both sides. I was more prepared for Bishop to E2, but Queen C2, of course, is a move as well. And usually the plan for black in these positions is to expand on the queen side and solve the problem of the light squared bishop. So I started with C5.
Yep, good old Fred Reinfeldt move from way back.
Yeah, very thematic. She took.
Yeah.
And then I have a decision to make because I could take with knight, which looks very natural, but I figured if I play Queen A5, after knight C3, queen takes C5, I get some initiative against the bishop, and then I'm also pressuring the bishop on G5. So there's ideas of B6, bishop E7, and start making threats before white can castle.
So she played bishop D3.
Yep, I played B6. And then she played A3, which I was not even considering, but it's interesting because she wants to play B4 and kick away my queen.
Yeah. But where's the queen going?
So I still have some squares, but
okay.
Yeah, so bishop E7.
Yeah.
B4.
And you go back to C7.
Queen C7, and then she played rook to C1. And then this allowed me this kind of positional transformation after take on F3, take on F3, and then knight E5. And all of a sudden, even though I gave up the bishop pair, white is under a lot of pressure here, I think, just with the bishop on D3, undefended pawn on F3, and the king still in the center as well.
Yes.
So
kind of an easy game, haven't you, really?
I was feeling very comfortable here, and it's white that has to answer the questions.
And she decided to take on F6.
Yeah, so this kind of simplifies a lot. Idea being I have to throw in this in-between move to take, so I don't lose H7.
Intermezzo move, and bishop takes F6.
And visually it looks very nice for black. Bishop versus knight, better pawn structure for black, and white probably wants to castle here, but if she castles, I believe I have the move rook, what was it?
Attack with queen?
There is a question which rook to move to F8, because if I play this rook to D8, then she has knight D5, and I want to take, but after takes, my rook is hit. So if we just back up a few moves, it's better to move the other rook. And then knight D5 doesn't work because after takes, I take on C1.
And there's no loose rook in
everything's covered, and I'll be up a piece. So that's basically why she can't castle. And she played King E2.
King E2.
Which during the game I thought to myself, this is a delayed bomb cloud. You've heard of this opening.
I have, yes.
So I think it probably, the position calls for king e2, but it's not the most attractive move to play.
No. It looks safe enough, though, doesn't it? I mean, you could argue maybe the other way, getting your king nearer the centre for the end game, and it's not a target, but
Yeah.
maybe it is a target. I don't know.
Well, if queens get traded, then the king is very well placed.
Yes.
But the problem for white is we keep queens on the board.
Heavy piece is still on the board, yeah.
I play rook to c8, and then there's pressure on the e-file. And after the game, she told me she probably should have played knight e4 here, which goes into this endgame where I get 2 rooks for a queen.
Yes.
And I think black was the only one with winning chances here because white's not even getting a pawn for it.
Yeah.
So instead of knight e4, she played knight a2. And basically for the rest of the game, black was in control because I have queen e5 here. And the knight is really misplaced on a2 because it can't really come back to c3.
Suddenly the king is looking a bit rocky there, isn't it, on e2? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's queen b2 ideas, and kind of the whole queen side for white is vulnerable here.
So this is nice for you, isn't it? Okay, so a4.
a4, trying to save the queenside pawn because I was threatening queen b2 and eventually win the pawn.
Yeah.
Problem for white is I still have queen b2 after queen d2, queen b3, and pretty sure one of the pawns is falling.
That's a very awkward move to meet, isn't it? Yeah,
right.
Okay, so she tried to take the rooks off.
But it was still impressive how much resistance she put up because we trade down.
Yeah, okay, that always happens. Knight takes c1, and you take your pawn.
Yep, so I'm up a pawn, but the rest of the game was a matter of endgame technique. And we could zoom through because I think a lot of these moves were just kind of consolidating. I can do it too. Yeah.
It's queen side, sure.
So I got my ideal setup on the king side.
Yeah.
And we were in a situation where she couldn't take the a7 pawn because I have queen c2, so white was a bit tied down. And then after king d2, this allowed me to play a5 because after she takes, I have the in-between move queen c3. And then I finally achieve the passed a pawn. And then if we go forward some more moves, we were approaching move 40.
Getting there?
Slowly but surely. I repeated the position once. I played bishop e1, hitting f2. This forced the knight back to d3, and then I just moved back, just trying to get to move 40 because I had a couple of minutes left. She played knight c5, and then rather than repeating again, I played bishop to b4, and after knight d3, I found the better square for my bishop on d6. And I think in this position, white is very close to being in zugzwang. It's very difficult to find a move for white. Yeah. Because the queen is tied down to the knight, the king is tied down to the e-pawn, the knight is restricted by my bishop, and also I'm threatening a4, so it's just really difficult for white to find an acceptable move. She decided to trade queens, but then this walks into pretty simply winning endgame after takes, and decided to put my bishop on d4 to just dominate the knight. And did this not happen?
Oh, sorry, no, it didn't. King e2 happened.
Yeah, she played king e2 first, bishop d4, then knight a4. But same situation.
Right.
And the rest of the game.
The rest of it is fairly straightforward, I guess.
Once the knight is stuck, I can make my progress on the king side.
King enters the game.
White can't really stop the plan of
g5. Playing on that side as well.
Yeah, so king d3, put the bishop far away, and then after, she played e5 check.
E5 check, yeah.
e5, king f5, takes, and then
knight c3 is played. King h4.
She's hoping for king f4.
Oh.
But I think king f4 is still winning. I was wondering about it during the game.
Okay, well, that would be fun.
I didn't want to make things too exciting.
Okay.
It's an interesting calculation exercise.
Right, okay.
Instead of king f4, I played king h4, and then she resigned.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.